Sup nerds, do you enjoy having access to all of your deck's resources at any given moment? Do you enjoy alternate win conditions? Do you enjoy disrupting your opponent's plays and access to their resources? Do you enjoy being able to win out of nowhere? We'll look no further because today we have a Megidramon loop deck profile for you. Starting off with our Tama, we are of course running 4 EX2 Digimon. The inheritable is when attacking once per turn. If this Digimon has Gallantmon, Gallantmon, or Gallantmon in its name, draw 1. And then on to our rookies, we have 4 promo Gillmons. The when attacking trigger draw 1, so if you stack this on top of one of your Tamas, swing into security for a little chip damage, you get to draw 2 cards. Pretty nasty. And then our next rookie, we're playing 4 EX2 Gillmon. His on play is reveal the top 4 cards of your deck, add 1 card with Gallantmon or Gallantmon in its name, and 1 Takato Mitsuki, if I'm saying that right. Among them to your hand, place the remaining cards on the bottom of your deck in any order, yada yada yada. The inheritable is when attacking once per turn if this Digimon has Gallantmon or Gallantmon in its name, delete one of your Digimon with 3000 DP or less. And then arguably the best rookie in the deck, one we just got in EX4, Gillmon. He evos for free on top of your Digimon, so don't worry about the evo cost here. And his on play is if the total number of cards in both players' trashes is 20 or more, this Digimon gains Rush for the turn, which is going to happen pretty quickly, as you guys will see as we continue with the deck list, to where like you can just drop this guy for 3 memory and just kill your opponent. It's basically kind of like a hybrid situation, but there are also other combos you can do with this card. It's pretty nasty. And on to our champions, we are running 4 Black Gallantmon, also from EX4. I would say this is probably the best champion in the deck. He evos for 2 on top of your Gillmons. His when Digivolving effect is trash the top 2 cards of both players' decks. Then you may return 1 Gillmon or 1 card with Gallantmon or Gallantmon in its name from your trash to your hand. So this will add literally anything from your trash to your hand besides your Tamers, which you can play for free out of your trash. And then his on deletion effect is you may return 1 Gillmon or 1 card with Gallantmon or Gallantmon in its name from your trash to your hand. So both effects do the same thing. This is part of the loop package. This will let you continuously loop cards from your trash to your hand. To where you can basically do the same thing every single turn and you're not going to lose out on any resources. And then our next champion, we're playing 3 Gallantmon from BT12. His when Digivolving effect is if you don't have Takato on the field, you can play 1 for free from your hand. And then his inheritable is your turn. If this Digimon has Gallantmon or Gallantmon in its name, it gets plus that 2000 DP. Pretty nice. Most of the time, your Takatos are going to be played off of your level 5s. So this when Digivolving effect is like not super awesome outside of like the first turn, but we do actually want to have access to this 2000 DP in the event we need it in certain matchups. So that's why we're playing 3 of it. And then we are also playing 3 starter deck 7 Gallantmons. The inheritable is your turn once per turn when an opponent's Digimon is deleted, gain 1 memory. This is really important for not passing turn in certain situations when you're trying to game your opponent, but we'll get to that whenever we get to the combos at the end of the video. And on to our ultimates, we are playing 4 War Gallantmon from EX3. This is the best ultimate in the deck by far. Evos for 3 on top of all your Gallantmons. His effect is when Digivolving, both players trash the top 3 cards of your decks. Then if a player has 5 or more cards in their trash, you can play a Gillmon or Takato from your hand or trash without paying its cost. So this is also part of the loop package. This will actually let you just loop your rookies to where like if he dies, it doesn't matter because he already put another body on the field. It also lets you play your Takatos for free in the event you need to set those up. Then our other ultimates, we are playing 4 BT12 War Gallantmon. This one is still pretty good. It's not as good as this one, but his effect is when Digivolving, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 4000 DP or less. If no opponent's Digimon was deleted by this effect, this is such a long effect. If no opponent's Digimon was deleted by this effect, you may Digivolve this Digimon into a level 6 Digimon card with Gallantmon in its name from your hand for the cost, and then you reduce the cost by 1. And then the inheritable is end of attack once per turn. If your opponent has no Digimon in play and this Digimon has Gallantmon or Gallantmon in its name, gain 2 memory. Our last ultimates, we're playing 2 Black War Gallantmon from EX4. His effect is when Digivolving, trash the top 3 cards of both players' decks, then choose any number of your opponent's Digimon so that their DP totals up to 3000 and delete them. For every 10 cards in both players' trashes, add 2000 to the maximum this DP-based deletion effect can delete. Such poorly worded effect, but basically mid to late game, you can just clear whole boards with this because you're going to be milling both you and your opponent's decks the entire game. So like this guy can just come out and just be like bop, 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 bop. But he's not good early game like at all besides his milling effect. That's what we're playing too. And on to our megas, the star of the show. We are playing 4 EX2 Megidramon. He interacts with all your stuff because he's also treated as Chaos Gallantmon. He's supported by everything in your deck that refers to Chaos Gallantmon or Gallantmon cards. His when Digivolving effect is delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 10,000 DP or less. effects. If no Digimon was deleted by this effect, trash the top 5 cards of both players' decks. And then his on deletion effect is you may play 1 Gallantmon and 1 Takato from your hand and or trash without paying your memory cost. So this guy will let you loop into another rookie when he dies. You continuously loop and cycle and put another body on the field that goes into another body. That's the primary goal of this deck, is just to stick this guy on the field and force your opponent to deal with it, and then stick another one on the field after they deal with it with the rookie that he gets to play for free, as well as the tamer and all the advantage you get from that. And then our last 2 megas, we were actually playing 2 Gallantmons from BT12. This guy is just your finisher. We're playing 2 though, just in case one of them gets stuck in security. We want to be able to kill people whenever we want. The BT12 Takato lets you warp into a Gallantmon specifically, and this is the preferred Gallantmon we want to warp into. He does have Raid, which can come up in certain situations. The primary deck I can think of is D-Reaper. Then his when Digivolving effect is delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 6,000 DP or less. And then his when attacking effect is delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 6,000 DP or less. If no Digimon was deleted by this effect, trash the top card of your opponent's security. This guy just lets you swing and then trash a card most of the time, because you're probably going to pop the only target you have when you Evo into him. And then you swing, and then you just get to trash a card for free. Onto our ultra level Digimon. We are playing 2 Gallantmon Crimson mode. This is one of your win buttons. You'll either have a mega that your opponent didn't deal with on their turn, and they have so many cards in their trash that you can just go into this guy and kill them. Or you can warp into your Gallantmon and then Evo into this guy. But his effect is when Digivolving, delete all of your opponent's Digimon with the highest DP. And then when attacking, trash the top card of your opponent's security stack, add 1 to the number of cards trashed by this effect for every 10 cards in your opponent's trash. So after like, I would say around like mid to late game, this guy's trashing probably at least 3 cards off your opponent's security. So if you poked him a couple times and you Evo into this guy and you blitz into their security, they're just dead. And we're playing 2 so we can see it in case one gets tucked in security. And onto our tamers, we are playing 3 Takato Metsuki. He is a memory setter, and then his other effect is once per turn, by placing this tamer and 1 Growlmon and 1 War Growlmon from your trash in any order as the bottom evolution cards of one of your Gilmons. That Digimon may Digivolve into a Gallantmon from your hand for the cost, ignoring its level. The Digimon Digivolved by this effect gets plus 2,000 DP for the turn. So this will let you warp one of your Gilmons into your BT12 Gallantmon, and then usually that won't pass turn just based on all of your other stuff. And then you can go into your Crimson mode to just finish the game. And then our next tamer, we are playing 3 EX2 Takato Mitsuki. His effect is, when an opponent's Digimon is deleted, you may suspend this tamer to gain a memory. And then the other effect is, when one of your Digimon would Digivolve into a Digimon with Gallantmon or Growlmon in its name, that Digimon gains when Digivolving Blitz. This is really important for going into your Crimson mode, otherwise Crimson mode would not be that good if you could not give it Blitz. That's it, we're playing 6 tamers. On to the last 4 cards in the deck, we are playing 4 Red Memory Boost. The effect is main reveal the top 4 cards of your deck, add 1 red Digimon card among them to your hand, place the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order, then place this card in your battle area. And then the other effect is main delay, trash this card to gain 2 memory. You can't do this the turn you play it, and then security effect is just put it in your battle area. Alright, now let's get into the combos. Alright, so this is probably my favorite like mid to late game combo, is you start your turn, you and your opponent definitely have more than 20 cards total in your trash. You hard play this guy for 3, go to 0, he gains rush for the turn, and then you activate Takato's warp effect to tuck him underneath, and then you are definitely going to have a War Growlmon and a Growlmon in your trash. You tuck both of these are the preferred targets for both of those effects, and then you get to Evo into this guy for 4 memory. If you do delete something, you'll gain a memory here and you'll gain a memory here, so it'd only be 2 memory effectively. And then you can blitz at security and most likely trash a card since you've already popped one of their 6k or lower, and you can actually gain 2 more memory assuming you cleared your opponent's board to where it actually goes back to your turn, and then you can do something else. The other thing you can do is, if you already had a Gilmon on the field and you warped into this guy, you most likely will pop a guy, so you'll gain 2 memory here, so it only costs 2, so you're at 1. And then you Evo into Crimson mode. Crimson mode blitzes at security, trashes like 3 cards off the top of their security, and they're dead. Now let's go into some of the loops you can do with this deck. So starting out with a Gilmon, this is your preferred Gilmon for most of your effects besides your rushed Gilmon mid to late game. So you can Evo into this guy, mill 2, and then you can add any piece from your trash to your hand. Whenever you Evo into this guy, you get to play one of your tamers or play a Gilmon from your trash or your hand. Don't forget you can play things from your hand for most of your effects. You don't actually have to mill them, you can draw them as well. If you already have Takatos on the field, most likely you would pick this guy as your target if you have one in your hand. He gives you more search power. And then you go into this guy, and then whenever you swing in their security, whatever, and then he dies, and you get to proc his on deletion effect here. That'll play another Gallantmon. Most likely you'll target this one unless it's your turn. Then you would play the other one. You would play the Gallantmon that has rush, so you could get another swing in. And then you get to play a Tocado for free from your trash your hand. And then this adds basically any card besides your Tamers from your trash to your hand on deletion. And you just get to do it again next turn. But those are the two like primary lines of play for the deck. Set up to warp with your BT12 Tocado for game, or just continuously cycle your Megidramons and your Wargrowlmons and your Gillmons, and your opponent can't keep up with that aggression. You can also mill your opponent out. If you're playing against a deck that mills themselves, like Beelzemon for example, or a deck that searches or adds a lot of cards from their deck to their hand, you can actually just mill people out, which is pretty cool. So this deck just has access to several different win conditions. It's actually really fun to play as well. I've enjoyed my playtesting with this deck, and a lot of people don't see it coming. One of my favorite parts about this deck is the fact that you always have access to your resources because everything adds from your trash to your hand. So as soon as you start milling cards, the trash is also your hand basically. And you have access to basically any card in your trash whenever you want it. You milling your opponent's cards usually isn't good for them, and they no longer have access to those resources, which is really nice. And let me know your thoughts on this deck in the comments below. I'm looking forward to reading those. But I do appreciate you guys stopping by. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're interested in this kind of content. Want to come back for more. But until next time, see ya.